The world believed that owning a Bugatti meant every single piece of the car was crafted from rare metals, custom-built engineering, and untouchable luxury. But when mechanics and rebuild experts started tearing these million-dollar hypercars apart, a shocking truth emerged. Some of the parts hidden beneath the carbon fiber body were the same components found inside ordinary Volkswagen vehicles. Tiny switches, sensors, and electronic modules costing a few dollars were sitting inside machines worth over $3 million. For rich Bugatti buyers, it felt almost unbelievable. How could a car capable of breaking speed records share parts with everyday family cars? Yet this revelation exposed something even bigger about the automotive world. Luxury isn't always about every individual part being expensive. It's about the engineering masterpiece created when those parts come together. And while critics mock Bugatti owners for paying millions for Volkswagen parts, the reality remained undeniable. No Volkswagen on earth could do what a Bugatti was built to do. The revelation spread across the automotive world like wildfire. For years, Bugatti had been viewed as the untouchable king of hypercars, a machine so advanced, so rare, and so expensive that most people would never even see one in person. Celebrities, billionaires, royalty, and collectors fought for the chance to own one. The Bugatti badge represented absolute perfection. Every curve of the body, every stitch inside the cabin, and every roar of the engine screamed exclusivity. So when enthusiasts discovered that certain parts inside these multi-million-dollar cars came directly from a Volkswagen parts bin, the internet exploded with disbelief. 81st, many people refused to believe it. Social media users called it fake news. Car fans argued in comment sections for weeks. But then mechanics, rebuild specialists, and YouTubers began proving it with real evidence. They removed panels, scanned part numbers, and compared components side by side. The results shocked millions. Door switches, window controls, parking sensors, climate modules, and other hidden electronic parts carried Volkswagen and Audi markings. Some components that sat inside a Bugatti costing millions were nearly identical to pieces found in vehicles worth less than $30,000 for ordinary people. It sounded ridiculous. How could someone spend millions of dollars on a Bugatti and still touch the same buttons found inside a family sedan? Critics immediately mocked wealthy owners online. Memes flooded the internet. People joked that Bugatti customers were simply buying the world's most expensive Volkswagen. Others claimed the luxury car industry was one giant illusion designed to trick rich people into overpaying for branding and status. But the deeper the story went, the more complicated the truth became. Bugatti was never just about individual parts. The company's real achievement was engineering. Behind the scenes, creating a Bugatti was one of the most difficult automotive projects in history. When Volkswagen Group purchased the Bugatti brand, they were not trying to build a normal sports car. They wanted to create something the world had never seen before, a machine capable of impossible performance. The goal was not simply speed. It was domination. Engineers were given almost unlimited budgets. They spent years developing technology that many experts believed was impossible. The result became the Bugatti Veyron, a hypercar powered by an enormous quad-turbocharged W16 engine producing over 1,000 horsepower. At the time, nothing else on the road could compete with it. The Veyron shattered records and changed the automotive industry forever. But building such a machine created a massive problem. Almost every part of the car had to survive unbelievable stress. The engine generated insane heat. The tires had to withstand speeds above 250 miles per hour. The transmission faced forces powerful enough to destroy ordinary gearboxes instantly. Even cooling the engine became one of the greatest engineering challenges in automotive history. The car required multiple radiators just to stay operational. Volkswagen reportedly spent billions developing the Bugatti project. Some financial analysts claim the company lost millions on every single Veyron sold. From a business perspective, it made little sense. Yet Volkswagen continued anyway, because Bugatti was never meant to be profitable. It was meant to prove that Volkswagen Group could build the greatest car on earth. That context changed everything. Suddenly, the use of shared Volkswagen parts no longer looked lazy. Instead, it looked strategic. Why spend millions redesigning a window switch when existing components already worked perfectly? Engineers focused their attention on the parts that truly mattered: the drivetrain, aerodynamics, chassis, suspension, and cooling systems. Hidden electronic modules were not what made a Bugatti special. The overall machine was. Still, many wealthy buyers felt uncomfortable with the discovery. Some collectors believed exclusivity should extend to every single detail inside the car. They expected even the smallest button to be handcrafted specifically for Bugatti. After all, when someone pays several $1,000,000 for a vehicle, expectations become extreme. Owners were not simply buying transportation. They were buying status, prestige, and the feeling of owning something completely unique. That illusion began cracking once rebuild videos started appearing online. One of the biggest reasons this controversy exploded was the rise of automotive YouTubers who specialized in rebuilding crashed supercars and hypercars. Unlike traditional dealerships, these creators showed the raw reality behind exotic vehicles. They exposed repair costs, hidden flaws, and manufacturing secrets that normal buyers never saw. Millions of viewers suddenly gained access to a world that had once been reserved for the ultra-rich. When creators began rebuilding damaged Bugattis, audiences were stunned by what they found. Some replacement parts costing only a few dollars carried Volkswagen logos despite being installed in cars worth millions. Certain sensors came from Audi models. Electrical connectors matched parts used across the VW group. The discoveries fueled endless debate online, but experienced mechanics were not surprised at all. In the automotive industry, part sharing is incredibly common. Companies do it to improve reliability, reduce production costs, and simplify maintenance. Lamborghini shares technology with Audi. Bentley uses components from Volkswagen. Rolls-Royce and BMW share systems. Ferrari and Maserati have exchanged technology for years. Even the most luxurious vehicles on Earth often rely on parts from mainstream manufacturers. The difference is that Bugatti became the perfect target for criticism because of its extreme price tag. People expected perfection at every level. Finding ordinary parts inside an extraordinary car felt shocking because the brand had been placed on such a massive pedestal. Yet the irony was undeniable. Most critics focusing on tiny Volkswagen parts completely ignored the insane complexity surrounding them. A Bugatti transmission alone costs more than many houses. The engine contains engineering solutions so advanced that few mechanics in the world are qualified to work on it. The aerodynamics were tested endlessly to keep the car stable at speeds where most vehicles would lose control instantly. Even changing fluids on a Bugatti can cost tens of thousands of dollars. The tires themselves became legendary. At maximum speed, the forces acting on them were so extreme that they could only survive for limited periods. Bugatti owners were sometimes advised to replace tires after relatively low mileage, simply for safety reasons. These were not ordinary cars pretending to be special. They were engineering monsters built without compromise. That reality created a strange contradiction that on one hand, Bugatti represented the peak of automotive achievement. On the other hand, the company still relied on ordinary components wherever possible. To some people, that made the cars feel less magical. To others, it proved how intelligent the engineers truly were. Then another controversy emerged. Some experts argued that the real reason for shared parts was reliability. Custom-made electronic switches and modules are extremely expensive to develop and often introduce new problems. By using proven Volkswagen components already tested in millions of vehicles worldwide, Bugatti reduced the risk of failures. It also made servicing slightly easier for technicians. For wealthy owners, reliability mattered more than people realized. Nobody wanted a $1 million hypercar constantly breaking down because of experimental electronics. Buyers expected their vehicles to function flawlessly. Using proven components helped ensure that the car's basic systems worked correctly even while the rest of the vehicle pushed engineering boundaries. Still, public perception had already changed. The internet loves exposing hidden truths, especially involving luxury brands. Videos titled, "Your Bugatti Shares Parts with Volkswagen," attracted millions of views. Comment sections filled with jokes and arguments. Some people mocked the rich for being fooled. Others defended Bugatti by pointing out that no ordinary Volkswagen could ever compete with a hypercar capable of breaking world records. In many ways, both sides were correct. Yes, Bugatti used Volkswagen parts. But no, that did not make the car just a Volkswagen. The magic of a Bugatti was never about a single switch or sensor. It was about combining thousands of components into one of the most advanced vehicles ever created. And perhaps that was the biggest lesson hidden behind the controversy. Luxury is often built on perception. People imagine million-dollar products as entirely handcrafted masterpieces made from rare materials and unique components. But the real world is far more practical. Even the greatest engineering projects rely on shared technology, mass production systems, and strategic decisions designed to save time and reduce risk. Bugatti simply became the brand that exposed this reality more clearly than anyone expected. Yet despite all the criticism, demand for Bugattis never disappeared. Collectors still lined up to buy them. Billionaires still fought for limited production slots. Celebrities still showed them off on social media. Because at the end of the day, the dream remained stronger than the controversy. Owning a Bugatti was never just about parts. IT was about power. IT was about status. IT was about possessing a machine so extreme that almost nobody else on Earth could experience it. And even after the world discovered the hidden Volkswagen logos buried beneath the carbon fiber, one fact remained impossible to deny. No ordinary car could make people stare, dream, and obsess the way a Bugatti still could. The controversy continued growing. Former engineers and automotive insiders slowly began speaking about what really happens behind the closed doors of the luxury car industry. Many explained that the public completely misunderstands how hypercars are built. People imagine rooms filled with artisans crafting every single screw by hand, but the reality is far more technical and strategic. Even companies building the fastest and most expensive cars in the world must balance reliability, manufacturing costs, safety regulations, and engineering practicality. Bugatti's engineers were not focused on impressing people with custom-made window switches. They were focused on solving problems that most automakers never even face. How you keep a 1,500 horsepower machine stable at nearly 300 miles per hour? How do you stop tires from exploding under unimaginable pressure? How do you cool an engine producing enough heat to melt ordinary components? Those were the real battles happening behind the scenes while internet critics laughed about Volkswagen buttons. The deeper enthusiasts looked into Bugatti's engineering, the more respect many of them gained for the company. The Chiron, Veyron, and other Bugatti hypercars were not simply fast cars. They were moving laboratories filled with groundbreaking technology. The amount of testing required was almost unbelievable. Engineers pushed these cars through deserts, freezing climates, wind tunnels, and endless high-speed experiments just to ensure they could survive conditions that would destroy normal vehicles instantly. Every detail mattered. Even the aerodynamics changed automatically depending on speed. Massive rear wings adjusted themselves in milliseconds. Suspension systems reacted differently under extreme acceleration. The cars were constantly calculating, adapting, and protecting themselves while operating at speeds most humans would never experience. Yet ironically, the more advanced Bugatti became, the more people focused on the simplest details. Social media transformed the discussion into entertainment. Clips showing Volkswagen logos on tiny components spread faster than explanations about advanced aerodynamics or quad-turbocharged engineering. That became the nature of internet culture. Small, shocking discoveries always travel further than complicated truths. A 10-second video exposing a shared part generated more attention than a 1-hour documentary explaining the engineering miracle behind the car itself. And because of that, many people began judging Bugatti without fully understanding what made it extraordinary in the first place. Some wealthy owners reportedly became frustrated by the jokes. For them, buying Bugatti was deeply personal. It represented success, achievement, and exclusivity at the highest level. Many collectors spent years trying to secure ownership slots because production numbers were extremely limited. Some even customized their cars with unique paint colors, special interiors, and one-of-one details costing hundreds of thousands extra. To those buyers, hearing strangers online reduce their hypercar to just a Volkswagen felt insulting, but others reacted differently. Some owners openly laughed at the controversy and admitted they did not care where a switch came from as long as the car delivered an unforgettable experience every time they pressed the accelerator. And that experience was something very few critics could truly understand until they witnessed it in person. People who drove Bugattis often describe them as almost unreal. Despite having enough power to outrun nearly everything on Earth, the cars remained surprisingly smooth and refined. They could cruise quietly through cities like luxury sedans, then transform into violent monsters the moment the throttle opened. The acceleration was so brutal that passengers sometimes struggled to breathe properly during full-speed runs. At maximum velocity, the scenery blurred into pure chaos while the cars somehow remained controlled and stable. That combination of comfort and madness became Bugatti's true signature, something no shared Volkswagen part could possibly explain. Meanwhile, automotive YouTubers continued exposing the hidden realities of the supercar world. Rebuild projects revealed not only shared parts, but also the astronomical costs behind maintaining these machines. Some Bugatti repairs cost more than entire sports cars. Replacing body panels, wheels, or specialized components could take months and drain hundreds of thousands of dollars. Owners discovered that buying a Bugatti was only the beginning. Maintaining one required another level of wealth entirely. Insurance costs, tire replacements, servicing, transportation, and factory maintenance programs became financial nightmares for anyone unprepared. Suddenly, the dream hypercar started looking less like a toy and more like a responsibility only billionaires could comfortably handle. Yet the mystique never disappeared. In fact, for some people,